Hello, Wolves Voice Focus. Nottingham Forest are 2 points above the Premier League relegation zone after their sixth 3-2 defeat of the season, this time to Newcastle United on Saturday. We'll talk about two more set-piece goals conceded, more VAR controversy, and ask if the season will be salvaged with the same mistakes being made 24 games in. Joining me to discuss all that, first of all, is Michael Temple. Temps, how you doing?
Better than Greg.
Yeah, let's come to Greg Mitchell then. Are you in mourning for the Super Bowl and your own lack of sleep after being beaten by Taylor Swift or not?
Oh, God, yeah. Can't ever listen to another one of her songs. But yeah, we go again. I'll finally get some joy from one of my sporting teams one day, I'm sure.
Which one? Dortmund?
Probably the cricket, if I'm honest, Tim. Sort that out for the summer.
I'll help you out, mate, no problem.
Back with us today as well is former Reds defender Kelvin Wilson. Kelvin, good to have you here again. Are you okay?
Yeah, very well, thanks.
Right, let's get cracking. We'll let Greg go first in case his voice fails halfway through. What's your just overall initial take on Saturday and what we witnessed?
Just disappointing. It was the defensive errors again, the set pieces, which were just so lapse, I'd say, in concentration. There's so many words you could use for it. It was just lazy, wasn't it? And we've got to improve, and we've got to improve quick because we're in a real relegation battle now. We don't truly know where we are in that table because of the potential of what's to come, and it's just we've got to find something that's going to click soon, especially at the back, because we're past blaming goalkeepers now for every goal we concede. This is just some real basic errors that we need to improve on quickly.
I suppose, Temps, one of the big questions coming out of the game, we'll talk about them in more detail, but how much of it was our own failings? How much of it was decisions going against us for you?
There's some big decisions. One big decision that went against us, which is the penalty, which I'm sure we'll get onto in more depth. Credit to them. They still need to finish these goals when they got in those positions. The technical ability from Bruno for both of his finishes was exemplary. So I've been impressed with Newcastle. I was impressed with Newcastle in that game. I think they've got the dynamic defenders that allow them to play the way that they do. They've got some real technical craft, and even in a game like that where their striker had a limited impact, there's players in and around him that can pick up the slack and score the goals. So yeah, I am. It was a penalty for me, so I am feeling hard done to in that sense. But there were some big errors in the game that we continue to make. The set piece thing is getting extremely frustrating, and I'm sure Kelv will have his piece to say on that. But Nuno's got a decision to make because we're pretty much back to where we were a year ago. Still got the adventure, picking the wingers, attacking players. The four guys that we want to see on the pitch, we know are going to be those that create and finish in Gibbs White, Taiwo, Callum Hudson-Odoi, and Anthony Elanga. But it makes us so susceptible to conceding when we play with this adventure. And one of the turning points for Cooper last year in finding that resilience was the decision to revert to pride in a clean sheet ahead of attacking adventure, freedom for players, and trying to score freely as Forest have been doing relatively well in recent times. You can only slide that needle one way or the other. And I just wonder how many more games Nuno's going to give it before he tightens things up and tries to win 1-0 rather than 4-3, because we do look like we're going to concede every time we play at this moment in time. I think that's a key decision for him to make.
Before we get into goals then, Kelvin, what do you think about that? I mean, one of the questions we're going to ask is, are there 1-0 wins in this team? Do you think that's possible or not?
Obviously, that don't look like it's possible at the minute because the amount of goals conceded, especially from set pieces. But I think it's going back, we're playing well, but we're losing. I think we need to play ugly, play scrappy, and win football matches now. And that's what Nuno's got to decide he wants to do. He's got the players that are going to score goals. That we've proven that. The wingers and Gibbs White and now obviously the forwards are scoring goals. So I think he needs to pick a team where he can defend. Yeah, you want your defenders to be able to pass from the back, but I think if you put Bolly in that team, a lot of the set pieces that were conceded probably wouldn't get conceded because he does attack the ball, he heads the ball, not just because of his height, because he's an aggressive player. And I think that's what we're really missing at the minute. It's all good playing well and everyone's happy with the attacking play, but if you lose football matches, it means nothing.
Good to have 200 plus people with us already. Do like and subscribe if you haven't already. Yeah, just hit like, actually, that'd be good. Let's get into these goals then, Kelvin. The first one, Mark Southerns, who you haven't met yet, who's in our WhatsApp group, who does this podcast regularly, he was really raging at Forest not being switched on to Trippier hanging back and Almiron taking the corner. And he thought we should have been much more reactive to that, even though it's very well worked. What's your take on that first goal? How much of it is down to us versus Newcastle's ingenuity?
No, I think it's all down to us. As much as teams have set piece coaches and they practice these things, you have a way to defend. You have a way to defend, and regardless of what they do, that's your way of defending. Whether it's your zonal marking or your man-for-man marking. They would have thought Trippier was going to take the corner, but things change in football. Adapt to it. You're not under 11s where you need the manager to shout on and tell you that it's a different person taking the corner. It's a part of your trade then to read the game a little bit, and your experience. You've got a lot of experienced players in that team. So no, I'd say it's a lack of concentration from the Forest players, to be honest with you.
And no one watched it. I've watched it back temps. Like, no one even looks at Bruno Guimaraes from our team. It's not like he's ghosted off and run off someone. He's literally not marked at any point there.
That's the quality of the move, isn't it? He's not the danger when the corner is taken. He's outside the box. He makes the run extremely late, and he knows that the Forest back four are going to react and try and clear their 6-yard box the second they see that the corner taken. Sure. I mean, I could laud this goal all day. I think hit a volley like that, if your inside foot back in the direction it's came, try that 100 times and see how many you connect with. And you get let off in that position in the Championship, and the bottom end of the Premier League is such a difficult goal to score. So I think 200 miles up the road, there's 4 Geordies lauding a clever corner routine that's developed a clear opportunity for arguably their most technically gifted player. But I can only agree with what you guys were talking about after the game on Saturday. The lack of awareness of Nuno having a player running into his lane and giving him the amount of space that he did is really disappointing. He was no one's man at the start of that move. As Kelv says, you have to adapt. Things change. It's a zone to mark, and there was no one in that zone. Still needed finishing, and I will credit him for that. I was really, really impressed by that goal, but it could have been easily prevented if we were sharper.
Let's stay on set piece goals then. The second one, Kelvin. I mean, we said it's so bad. First question, is it a silly free kick for Ryan Yates to give away, or do you think you should be able to deal with that from any ball pumped into your box? And then second one, what's gone wrong that we end up with like Nico Williams marking Botman? We don't win the first header. Just talk us through it.
Yes, it's a silly free kick, but you've got to defend it. It's not a dangerous free kick, really. Let's be honest. Just go and head the ball. Just go and clear it. Nico Williams, he's marking, but it's the second phase for me. I don't understand why it's not been. You're in the area. You've got to be alert to the ball. It's bouncing around, and it's just second to react. Just like crosses, we don't attack the ball. We just jump and wait for it to come to us. Other players, other teams have noticed if you attack the ball, you will get in front of the Forest players, and it's just the same. It's just a different game, same story, different game. It's week in, week out now, and it's strange that it's not getting nipped in the bud. I know as a player you can do it on the training ground as much as you want. You can get the best set piece in your set piece taker in your team, swinging balls in 50 balls a training session, and the manager making you head them away. When it comes to match day, it's completely different. It's on the actual day you've got to go and do it. So waste time doing it Monday to Friday. Go and do it on a Saturday. And obviously Forest aren't doing that in a minute. They're really not doing it. And I don't understand how the penny's not dropping that, wait a minute, if we don't concede from set pieces, we'll win football matches. I don't understand how our players are not saying that. A set piece is what, 10 seconds? When they're taking a set piece, someone should grab everyone and say, right, just head this ball away, clear it, first to the ball. deal with that, and then you carry on with the game, and Forest will win matches. I don't know how players aren't switching on to this.
Yeah. I mean, Steve Cooper, it's a historical problem. It's not Nuno's problem. It was Steve Cooper's problem as well. So, yeah, you're saying it's purely player responsibility because the set piece coach is getting dogs abuse on Twitter. I don't really know much about him, but it's on players for you.
No, yeah, the set piece coach. I don't know if he does defending ones or it's just attacking. Being creative on attacking set pieces, but defending set pieces, I don't think it would be down to him. I think that would be down to the manager because different teams, it's marking the space and seeing where they deliver the ball. When you watch the video throughout the week, you'll see where the set pieces mainly land for the opposite team. So that's how you set up to defend it. So I'm not sure the set piece coach will take that. I'm not sure. I'd never had a set piece coach when I played. I'm sure that would be the manager and the players that he picks to where he wants them. So I don't think that's a set piece manager. And plus, if it is, it's still not his fault. It's the players. He can't go on that pitch and pick them up by their legs and make them jump and head the ball. They've got to be. You've got to want to do it. If it's going to hit you in the face, you've got to want to put your body on the line. Some players aren't going to do that. Some are. But at the minute, it don't seem like any of the Forest players want to do that. Because Ryan Yates is well for that goal. I think the players ran off him as well. What I've watched of it, he's not really tracked him in the box and he's put it away.
Yeah, he gets underneath the ball. It bounces, and then Shah has run off him. Yeah, true. Ryan Yates, Greg, is getting a lot of stick on Twitter. He seems to be the one it's all been pinned on for the match. I mean, personally, I don't think him and Dominguez are a great pair, but in home games. But I don't think you can pin it all on Ryan Yates, can you? What's your take on Yatesy this season?
One of his biggest qualities, it seems, this season is getting a free kick for us when it's needed in a pressure, like when we're under pressure, he'll go down and he'll get those free kicks. I think he's got one of the highest free kicks in the league. But the issue is when he defends, he's always giving away free kicks, isn't he? Like he defends from behind the player and then they just go down and that's it. And I think we've got to nip that in the bud, just these silly free kicks, especially when we haven't got the confidence defending them. So it isn't all on Ryan Yates at all, because he does do some valuable stuff. That's why he gets picked by every manager that is in a squad for. But yeah, it wasn't his best game on Saturday, and I mean, he certainly wasn't the only one though.
No, what do you think about it, Temps? I feel like we go from different podcasts to different podcasts saying this player is going to save us, and now it's Willy Bolly and Ibrahim Sangare. Are they going to fix this, and we can take Yates out, and everything will be right?
You're a better player when you're out of the team, aren't you? I mean, we've had this debate endless times, from Sam Surridge to Ryan Yates, and now Sangare is the lightning rod for it. I hope so, because he has the pedigree and the technical ability to be a leader in the team and to give us the dynamism that we crave while still being a ball winner. But I haven't seen it with my own eyes yet, and therefore I'm not convinced. Yates, he does get picked by everybody, because when João Carvalho is doing 10 Cruyff terms in training, he then comes through and clubs in from behind and wins the ball for his team. So I get it. Ryan Yates will always have a role in this squad, but he's not a starting centre mid if our starting centre mids are in form. And Sangare has to do that for me. He's the one, the biggest untapped potential in the side, compared to, if we compare the levels of performance that we expected from him and what we've seen so far. Flashes of ability, flashes of poise, flashes of pace, and surging out from his own third, but nowhere near consistent enough. So let's hope he comes in and does it. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him start against West Ham, because we need to find the best of him soon. He could be like a new signing, and I want to be convinced. I haven't been yet though.
No, I don't know how he's gone in AFCON. I know he got an injury and lost his place. It sounds like he came off the bench and did well in the final stage yesterday. Ivory Coast won, obviously, for people who don't know, beat Nigeria. Willy Bolly wasn't in the squad at all, and I've not heard the reason for that, but that is certainly a concern. If he'd be typical our luck if he's injured and done a hamstring or something. So we'll wait for that through the week. We did do good work in the first half as well, though, Kelvin. I mean, Morgan Gibbs-White had an early chance to put us 1-0 up. Elanga had Dan Burn on toast, and we get those 2 goals. Did that kind of front four give you hope that we can still salvage things? Because you would have hated defending against Elanga, but in particular, wouldn't you? I guess that pace.
Yeah, pace is probably one of the worst things to defend against, especially as a defender. It's frightening, especially when someone's that quick as well. Because if you drop and you play players on, managers moan at you. If you play high and you get outrun, you look stupid. So yeah, it's a nightmare to play against. But I think with the front four, it's not a problem. They're scoring goals. It's not something that's concerning. It's not like we're losing 1-0 and things like this where we can't score, where we're having X amount of chances. That's not the case at this moment in time. It's the other end of the pitch. I just worry that even though we can see scoring goals, if we score 2 or 3, we lose 3-2 or 4-3. That's the be all and end all of it. So as much as we can praise the front four, which they've been brilliant. If they score 3 goals and we're like, oh, brilliant, but we lose 4-3, it counts for nothing really. It's the other end of the pitch that we need to tighten up on, and how we do that is, I don't know. I'd be a football coach if I knew, but Nuno's probably watching video after video and trying to find the fine details of how we can stop leaking goals, especially from set pieces.
I mean, do you sacrifice one of them? Maybe Hudson-Odoi. It wouldn't be popular with fans, and he's actually playing well. But do you trade one of them for an extra midfielder and make us more rigid? It goes back to kind of what Steve Cooper was doing, so I don't think fans would like it. But is that even an option for you, Kelvin?
Obviously, there's an option there for him to do that, but I don't think that's needed. I just think if you get your defenders wanting to defend, it stops a lot of the problems that are being caused. Because it's set pieces are the main thing. We're not getting opened up every week and they're scoring great goals against us. It's a lot of set pieces and second phases. So I think if a lot of players are more committed to defending set pieces, and not just the back four, because it's the midfield as well, and because when it's a set piece, everyone's back there really. So it's players. It's wanting your best players that attack the ball to go and attack the ball and defend, because they're just not doing it. It's just, Murillo, I praise him so much. He's a great player. He's not your man that you want in the middle of the 6-yard box to go and head the ball. So I don't understand why he's there a lot of the times. I'd rather put Chris Wood there. I know he's injured at the minute, or players like this, which I think he usually is actually. Your Willy Bolliers, these players that are going to go and attack the ball. It's just not happening at the minute. Like I say, we're not getting cut open by great play week in, week out. It's, set pieces. And I think teams are going to look at us and realise this is a good way to score against for us, especially at the City Ground. Because at the City Ground, the best teams in the Premier League have come and struggled to beat us and break us down. So they know it's not going to be an easy game footballing-wise. But if they can see that set pieces are Forest's biggest weakness, they're going to capitalise on that.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, my doubt about Niakate is aerially. I think statistically he's got a really poor record of winning aerial duels. Do you think? I mean, are our centre halves all a bit similar, Greg? Like Omobamidele, Niakate, Murillo, they're all good athletes, but is it hard to pair them together?
I don't know. I mean, Murillo maybe needs to be
Kelvin that because he's a centre half. But go on, Greg. Sorry.
No, sorry. I don't think so. I don't think they're similar. I mean, Murillo's different to any centre half we've had at our team just because of the way he goes forward, really. But this talk of him, pushing up a little bit more just keeps cropping in. One week we're selling him to Liverpool, and the next week he can't defend. So I don't really understand. I think there's just a bit of naivety with him, but I wouldn't say they're too similar. No, I think they've all got their own attributes, but we just need to, like you say, find that pairing, and we need to do it quickly. And I think I think Niakate he's probably the guy. They just, whatever. They haven't played together for a while, have they? They could click, and they need to, obviously.
Yeah, I think him and Murillo and Niakate are a bit similar. I mean, does it bother? Have your say on that, Kelvin? Also, does it bother you, this 2 left footers thing as well? Is that a factor at all?
I agree with you. I think they're very similar. Very similar. I know people might say they're not because they might judge Murillo as being better or whatever because he runs out of the ball. But they're very similar players. They're footballing players. They're not straight up and down centre halves, which not many centre halves in the Premier League are nowadays. You know, they've got to play. But if you look at Willy Boly, he is your old-fashioned centre half. You know, yeah, he can pass it out, but he's going to go and smash people, and he's going to go and head the ball. So yeah, I agree. I think they are similar. With the two left footers playing, no, I don't think that should be a problem. You know, I played with Wes and was both right-footed, and I played on the left side, which I prefer to play on the left side anyway. So I don't really see that as a problem. I think the amount of time you get on the ball in the Premier League, especially at the back, because they keep possession a lot, they've got plenty of time to switch it onto the left foot anyway, whichever side they're playing. So no, I don't think that's a problem at all.
Let's just take a break for our sponsor before we start looking at the VAR nightmare with Pyro. And I've got a gripe about the third goal as well, but we'll come to that. Thanks ever to Trent Navigation. Make sure you pop down there and the Big Shed this Saturday ahead of Forest v West Ham. Open from 10 a.m. for breakfast, loads of cask ales, barbecue in the food court. Plus, there's now an additional outdoor bar, making that two bars inside and out. You can watch Brentford versus Liverpool at 12:30, Man City versus Chelsea at 5:30. Both on the big screen outside and the screens inside. And as ever, I really need to cough in a sec. So here's a 15-second video to show you what the match day experience is all about. Thunder's passed on a nasty chest infection, but you can't take penicillin when you're 41, can you? So I just have to ride the storm, I think. Right, VAR and the penalties then. Well, I'll ask each of the guys in turn. Tams, you've touched on it already, but is your gripe with the Tyra one that it's not given initially, or that it's not overturned by VAR? What's your view on it?
It would have been a goal that would have helped out the credibility of our keeper and the confidence of Taiwo, because it was almost Edison-esque pass over the top, perfectly weighted. Taiwo's ran onto it, and we're just waiting for him to pull the trigger. So I think if he was truly sharp, he'd have got his shot off before he tried to go round the keeper. As soon as he did go around the keeper, and the keeper makes that second movement to raise his hand to create an obstacle, that's a penalty. He would have kept his footing. He was very honest in the way that he went down. He didn't change his stride. He didn't drag his ankle a la Jack Lester in the glory days. He was going to tap it in. It's a penalty. If a defender moves his hand like that in the box and it hits it, it's a handball. That's the key piece for me. The keeper tripped him. It was subtle, but it was there. Shearer did a nice bit of analysis on Match of the Day, which is where I've stolen my opinion from right now. That was a penalty. It would have changed the game. He could have taken on the shot earlier. He didn't. Has to be given.
Yeah, Jack Lester was really good at that, wasn't he? Just leaving a leg. He was a pioneer in the dark arts there, certainly. What about you, Greg? What's your take on it?
Well, if Anthony Taylor does his job, he gives the penalty and VAR doesn't overturn it the other way. I think it's as simple as that when people are saying if it is or it isn't. If that's given initially, the VAR doesn't, it's not a clear and obvious error by the ref that he's given a penalty. So for me, it's as simple as that. It was a penalty, this contact. You see the arm get raised, and it's another massive decision that goes against us. And it's not VAR that was at fault, it's Taylor again. I don't know how we keep getting him as a ref, because he's absolutely useless for us. So, I don't know. Maybe we don't write letters to the Referees Association saying you're not doing your job good enough. But how do you do it? How do you keep getting these decisions against us? It's killing us. And it does. It changes the game. And it was a penalty. I don't think there's an argument.
I think one of the frustrations as well is, like, I mean, referees got a tough job. Obviously, I don't want to hammer Anthony Taylor, but he gave an appalling penalty between Coventry and Preston when he got relegated earlier this season. And he got relegated, I think, if I've got my timeline right, because he gave that really duff one where Jota went down against Newcastle, which I don't think was a penalty. And this was so similar, and he doesn't give it. So I thought it definitely was. What about you, Kelvin?
Yeah, I thought it was a penalty. I thought it was. I shouted it straight away as soon as I was watching it live. I was like, penalty, definitely penalty. And then he didn't give it, and I thought, right, it's going to get it's going to be given by VAR, surely. And it didn't. And I was just so shocked. But going back to getting his shot away early, I think, obviously, he's been out a while. He was in so much of two minds that he's not even really tried to go around the goal. I think he's just tried to run through everything that's in front of him. He should have got his shot away early, I think. But it is a penalty. It's a penalty without a doubt. And I don't understand why referees, they've got the luxury now of VAR. So if he gives the penalty and then it gets overturned, what's he got to lose, kind of thing? Just give, because it is a penalty. You can tell it's a penalty. I don't understand what the referee's thinking there. I honestly don't.
I think another frustration of VAR attempts is, like, I think I mentioned this on the post-match stream on Saturday, last season against Brentford, when Dean Henderson barely touched someone's shin, and that was a penalty against us. And this season, you've got to do a lot to get a penalty decision overturned. It's just going back to that lack of consistency, I think, isn't it?
It's the breadth of this clear and obvious thing. So definite penalty over there, marginal penalty over there. They're still penalties. But the decisions aren't getting overturned unless they're at the extreme ends of the equation. So let's say 75% of those calls wouldn't be overturned. And that's exactly the point the fellas have made there. He gives that, it's not overturned. He doesn't give it, it's not overturned. That lane is too wide. There's too bigger, what's the phrase? It's there's too much leeway for VAR to just take the cop out, leave it with the ref on the field, despite the fact they can slow it down to super slow-mo and watch it from 7 angles. But that was Geordies, Newcastle fans, neutrals, Forest fans, I think they all know it was a penalty. And I don't want to get into the quality of particular refs, but yeah, he's a bad one, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he tried to let a lot of stuff go, but he made some awful decisions, like the one where Cher went through the back of Taiwo, not a foul. Then later in the game, Divock Origi kicks Cher, not a foul. So
missing the corner, handball or not handball, missing that corner.
Yeah,
I mean, that's mate.
I know. I think I don't want to do a list of who's the worst Premier League referee because it's a tough job, but it wasn't good enough again. What about Taiwo, Greg? We've touched on it there. I mean, he looks like a bit like the Taiwo of last season in form, in the sense that he's working his way back from injury, but he stuck one away really well. He's just run a little bit offside. Can you sort of see that it's returning for him the more he plays?
Yeah, you can tell it is a match fitness issue, isn't it, as well? Towards the end of his time before he comes off or what have you can tell the tiredness is hitting. So as soon as he gets that back, he'll be as good as gold, because you can see he's got his boots back on. But then I suppose with the non-penalty decision, if he was a little bit more match fit, he takes the shot early, or he gets around the keeper and, a little bit lighter on his feet. But you can see he does tire, and it's noticeable. So once we get that back, we're going to get the good Taiwo that we've all desperately needed this season. And, it might take a few more games, but keep playing him. He needs these minutes, clearly.
I hope you're right, mate. I just wonder if he'll ever be a 90-minute man. And my concern now is that Plan B is so ineffective. We're sold on Chris Wood. I think that would have been a lovely combo, 25 minutes of him at the back end of the games. But Origi doesn't do enough, doesn't have the cutting edge. And we have to surrender Taiwo because he's tired, he's on the edge of injury, whatever. But it's not a change of pace. It's not something particular for the centre halves to think about. He's not an effective sub for me at Forest. He was at Anfield, and we've all seen what he did there. But that's my concern. That until he becomes a 90-minute man, which he hasn't been at any stage of his Forest career, extremely efficient, takes his chances, minutes per goal and everything else is exactly where it needs to be. When we're chasing games last 20 minutes, we can't find that gear. And one reason is our substitute 9, in the absence of Chris Wood, is nowhere near capable of causing the problems that Taiwo causes.
Would you quite fancy defending against Origi in his current state, Kelvin? Because we're discussing Taiwo saying he's not at his best, but he still gives everyone a tough game. But Origi, I don't know, is he too predictable? What's going on there? There's a lack of a plan B.
Yeah, I think Origi, I'm not too sure about him as well. I agree with Temps there. I'm not sure that he's, we say the quality, and then people say, yeah, but he's come from Liverpool. Yeah, but with what Forest need, I don't think he suits that. I think he's a bit of he needs to play in a decent team. Not that Forest aren't a decent team, but where they've got a lot of possession and they're on top of games, and he's coming on to games where they're pretty comfortable. Where at Forest, that's not going to be the case with him. He's probably going to come on when we need a goal, and I don't think he's the guy that's going to get us the goal. I think with Taiwo, playing up front by yourself. I've played against obviously lone strikers, and good ones. They work their socks off. Is a hell of a lot of running for them to do, and not a lot of them play 90 minutes when they play one up top. Depending on what kind of team it is. If they're a team with loads of possession and they keep the ball like Haaland at Man City, it's different to a team, like Forest, where you defend from the front and you're chasing a lot and you're making a lot of runs in behind, which he does. He's not just the typical target man where you lump it up to him, he holds it up, touches it back and spins into the box. He don't do that. He runs in behind because he's really quick as well. He's not just a big guy. So I understand why he don't play many 90 minutes. I can totally get that. But yeah, we struggle to replace him when we do need to bring him off. And it's not like we can bring him off when we're 2 or 3-0 up and we can put anyone as a number 9 and just keep the ball, see the game out. Usually we're chasing the game to try and get a goal back. And we don't have that player apart from Chris Wood. And obviously he's out for a little while now. So we don't have that player that can come on for that last 15, 20 minutes to, cause a threat and maybe grab us a goal.
Did you think we were ever going to get back into that game, Greg, at 3-2 down? Because we've been in this situation a lot of times this season, obviously 3-2, but chasing games in general. I can't think of many times where I've really thought, yeah, we're going to do something. What was it like for you in the ground on Saturday?
Yeah, you could tell there was a hope in the ground. You could tell the crowd were they were up for it. They were waiting for it because, we've scored 5 goals against Newcastle over the 2 games, haven't we? We can clearly score against them. And their defence just looked so slow. They had no pace at all. So we just knew it was just going to take one more through ball and a bit of pace. And we were almost there, weren't we? So, yeah, up until the last minute, there was certainly hope and there was a drive to try and get it. Just not enough chances.
I think toward the last five minutes, I think Newcastle really, they seen out the game. They kept the ball.
Yeah.
They were just keeping possession. They wasn't bothered about going forward. I think they played it very well because I think they know that Forest, they're a team, especially at the City ground, the crowd, it's like it is literally a 12th man. And I think Newcastle read that situation and they're just seeing the game out. They used their experience, especially down the right side with Trippier. When every time it came to him, you have to slow it right down. And I think they're just seeing it out. And yeah, the fans was obviously open, but I think when I was watching it as obviously an ex-player and stuff, I just thought, yeah, they're in control now, Newcastle. They're just going to see this out.
Yeah, I think as soon as any team, especially Newcastle, they're now like Trippier, as you say, as soon as any team sits in against us, like I don't think we can open anyone up with Origi up front. Like there was times, and I'll ask you about Nuno Tavares in a second. We get in good areas and we've got one man in the box to hit. I'm like, we're chasing the game, and Gio Reyna wants to hang back. Gibbs White's playing deeper, I'm sure, which is fine, and I get that, but. The wingers don't really attack the box. I don't know. I think as soon as a team sits in against us, we've got problems. I'll ask you. Actually, I'm going to ask Kelvin about Nuno Tavares because it was on my list. He drives me mad because he does so much good stuff. Like I can see why Nuno picks him. Players who can run 30 yards with the ball and break lines are great, but when his decision making is so bad, like what would you be saying to him in the dressing room? Do you have to let it go and encourage him, or what, Kelvin?
I think it's a bit of both, to be fair. I think, he did something in the game I think it was in the second half. He's dropped his shoulder and he's left 2 players and he's gone through and you're thinking, oh my, just square it now. Just lay it across the box. Side foot, it's not even an hard technique. And he's really just swung at it and it's gone wide and high. And it's just one of them ones where you go, why? Why have you just done that? I don't understand. So he's a very frustrating player. I've played with not frustrating players, people who play off the cuff. Mikel Antonio, he was one. He played completely off the cuff. He didn't know what was coming.
Hey, he finished though, Cal, didn't he? He finished.
I was just about to say to you, sorry, he was one that everything came off for Mikel. He would play off the cuff, but it just came off for him. So, you like, just, yeah, go on, just go ahead, do what you want. But guys like him, Nuno, I think you're just like, what we're going to get today. You don't know what you're going to get. With Mikel, you knew what he was going to get. You didn't know what he was going to do, but you knew what you're going to get from him, success. Where we knew that Nuno, you don't know what you're going to get with him. It's, you know, he played against Forest last season or the season before, and he got dragged at half time. I remember watching that game, and I was like, wow, that's an Arsenal player. You know, it was probably one of the worst performances I've seen. And again, you just don't know what you're going to get from him. You knew that he wasn't a bad player because he's at Arsenal, but obviously that's him. He's just which way he's going to get out of bed that morning is how he's going to turn up.
Yeah. I just think once he starts showing an end product, then I'll be a fan of his. But I don't know. He got in lots of good positions and he set up one chance from it, which was the early one for Gibbs White, who should have done better. But after that, then I think you just want to see, a bit more from him, certainly. I've got a gripe with the third goal. People are going to feel like I'm making excuses for us because we made lots of errors, but I do have a gripe with the third goal as well. What did you think about it, Greg? Should they have gone back for VAR for Dominguez getting blocked off or not?
At the time, I didn't think so, no. I was just still shocked about the pass across the goal. You know, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy that we thought that was the best option in that position. I know as long-suffering Championship and League One fans, we get the ball out quick and this passing around at the back and real calm. You know, it's nervous to watch. And when mistakes like that happen, you just think, oh, God, why didn't you just get it out of there? But no, the Dominguez thing, even when you watch it back, it's not really that clear. So I didn't have a gripe at the time, certainly.
I suppose Greg's right, isn't he, Temps? Like Anthony Elanga, I'm big fan of. He's done really well this season. Won me over massively, but he can't give the ball away in that area, can you?
No, listen, it wasn't a foul. He hasn't used his shoulder or his arms. He's just got his hips in the right position to make it impossible for him to get past. So I think that's clever play. It's shrewd, but it's not a foul. And Gibbs White's actually made a decoy run inside to clear the lane for Elanga just to boom it down the channel, which was his intention. He never wanted the ball, and he's passed it straight into that lane. Guimaraes reacts first on it, and then there's that touch of quality which we spoke about earlier. So at the time, I was Brian Clough upper. I thought clear foul, he's been blocked. Watching it back, clever play. It happens. It shouldn't have gone to VAR, and it's a great finish. None of that matters if Elanga pumps it. At that point, I think a point's a great point. We've been in and out of the game. We've had chances, they've had chances, but we go home at 2-2 with a broken West Ham to come. We feel good about ourselves. Lump it. Chuck it in the channel. Let someone else chase it. Don't pass it into the lane with Bruno Guimaraes hovering and able to do what he does.
A few people, Kelvin, saying that once Sells gets a hand to it, he should turn it around the post. Is that a bit harsh, do you think, or not?
Well, this is what I was going to say. I thought the keeper should have saved it. And I know it might sound a little bit harsh, but I really think he should have saved that. You know, he's got a good hand to the ball. He's got a good hand to it. And I think he should have turned it around the post. But going back to Elanga, I think, if you pass the ball inside, it wasn't a square pass. I know it was a bit of a diagonal pass, but if you pass it inside, you've got to know that it's getting to its destination. You can't gamble, especially against players like Bruno. You know what I mean? It's gone to him, and like you say, it's a good finish. It's a good shot. But like I said, I think the goalkeeper should have saved it. I don't know if I'm being harsh. If I was the defender, I'd have looked back at the keeper and gone, any chance? I think he should have saved it. Honestly, do.
Let's turn the page a little bit for the last 20 minutes to two other quick topics. We weren't going to talk about West Ham in this show, but I think we probably should now because they got hammered 6-0 by Arsenal at home. So now a lot of us are thinking, and my first thought was, we've got to beat West Ham now. But then I was looking at their record. They've lost games heavily this season, then won the next one a couple of times. And obviously, like Sheffield United got absolutely tanked by Villa and then went and won at Luton. So I don't think it's quite a slam dunk. How are you feeling about that game, Greg?
I think we're playing them at the perfect time for us. They're not happy at all. You saw them all leaving in their droves at half time. Moyes is under pressure, but then Nuno's probably under a little bit of pressure already, as crazy as it sounds. Just to have back-to-back home games, I think that'll help. We've got to win. It's gone past the point would be a good against a team like West Ham. We've really got to get out and beat them, and got all the players back now. They've got a week to get ready, get fit, get match fit, and we've got to go for them. We really have. It's like we're running out of time now. We've lost 6 out of 7 at home, I think it is. Way too many for a team that's supposedly fighting for the lives down at the bottom, and that's what we were doing last year, getting those home results, because we know we can't rely on anything away.
Yeah, I mean, the home form, it's gone, hasn't it, Tam? So I'm just looking through the results now while Greg's talking. Aside from the Man United game, I can't even think one was our last home win. Maybe Villa in November. That underpinned us last season. It's collapsed now, hasn't it?
Atmosphere is back. I thought the fans were great on Saturday. It felt loud. Newcastle bring a fair bit of noise. Obviously, we all got a little bit overexcited where I was sat when Taiwo produced that finish, but was unfortunately offside. So I don't know. I kind of feared, I spoke about this before, that not that we'd become blasé, but 25, 26 Premier League home games into our return, it was hard to maintain the energy, which was so pivotal in our home record last season. I felt that was back, and a result is all it's going to take to fully restore that. So I'm with Greg. I think we can beat West Ham. It's definitely on my little wall chart route to safety to pull 3 points out of the bag at the weekend. But no, we're not producing the magic at home, are we? We've worked out how we want to play, which is to score and to be a little bit more proactive than we were at points last season. It's just this defensive solidity. Give me a clean sheet on Saturday and we'll win the game. Absolute clarity that we're going to score against West Ham. So that everything Kelvin described, taking responsibility, attacking the ball rather than getting involved in the shirt grabbing, arm grabbing, petty wrestling on the edge of the box. Let's have our defenders defend. Give them the license, particularly the centre halves, to just clear the lines, clear it out of danger. We're more equipped now to play the channel ball with the gas that we've got out wide. We have to get a result at West Ham. Performance is irrelevant to a large extent. I think 3 points there would breed a bit of a run, and it has to come on Saturday. I think a defeat would be really quite chastening. So back and turn it around.
I'm just periodically looking at Greg, looking like he's not well. Are you all right there?
Those get on YouTube, by the way, just to have a look at Greg. He's been up all night watching the Super Bowl. I think the game started at 11, but Greg's match day started something like 3 p.m. Am I right?
Yeah, no comment. I'm struggling. I've got to admit, I keep looking at the clock. Just thinking, when you said 20 minutes, I was like, oh, God. Sorry.
It's just upset as well by Kelvin, who still looks 30, just above him on my screen.
Don't feel it.
I'm going to read out a message at Temps then before I throw it to Kelvin. I said I hope Temps is going to be in better shape, because I know he likes his NFL. And he said, my pre-pod days are referred to as match day -1. I'll spend a good hour stretching, warming up my voice, writing down business phrases, etc. Then it's pasta and hydration tablet. I like to be in bed by 9 p.m. Before the show, I'll stretch again, think about tactics and strategies, get to my desk a good few hours early, and then it's go time. That's the level that I want on people on this podcast, and Temps is delivering it.
I was trying to inspire Greg, but he's just ignored it.
Yeah, yeah, not inspired at all. I'll live and learn. Put it that way. I'll be back stronger next week.
You'd be on pure adrenaline if the 49ers had won, but no, I think that's really taking you aback. This West Ham game, then, Kelvin, like away was one of the typical performance of this season. They scored 2 goals from set pieces, where we just did everything we taught, did all the things we talked about they didn't do in terms of desire of defending your own box. So how would you be viewing this game now from a player's point of view off the back of their defeat yesterday?
As a player's point of view, a wounded animal is a dangerous animal. They're going to... David Moyes have been under them all this week now. We can't lose this next game. You can't concede goals. You can't do this. So it's not going to be as easy as everyone thinks it's going to be, just because they've just lost 6-0. Not a chance. Yeah, 6-0 is bad result against anyone, but they played Arsenal as well, who were absolutely on fire. Let's not get it twisted. They were on flames. But playing West Ham now it's a good time to play them, though. Of course it is. They've just lost the game, heavy defeat. So, and we're playing them at home. I know our own record isn't very good at the minute. And then again, West Ham, would they want to play at home themselves after that result? So they might be happy that they're playing away as well. So it's going to be a really tough game, but definitely a game we can win, without a doubt. We will score. We will score. Without a doubt, we will score. But will we keep a clean sheet? That's the biggest thing. And I think set pieces with West Ham and the size of their team, and Kirk Zuma and the boy in midfield, I don't know his name. They've got height and they've got power. So, and the delivery of Ward-Prowse. So it's going to be a challenging situation dealing with set pieces, knowing how bad we've been this season. But if we conquer that, I don't think West Ham are going to play through us. I think their only solution of scoring a goal will be a set piece through Ward-Prowse's delivery. And like I've just said, and Tem said, we will score goals. Without a doubt, we will score against West Ham.
Last topic I wanted to talk about, because it's what everyone was talking about at the weekend, is basically, are we going down? Because we went into Saturday's game knowing that Luton had lost, Everton had lost, Burnley had lost. And then we go and put a performance with all the hallmarks of a team that gets relegated. We can't win at home, conceding god-awful goals. At least we are scoring them. But then on the flip side of that, we can score goals. We've got players coming back from AFCON, and Taiwo is getting fitter, and Elanga looks back to his best now. So, I mean, do you see enough, Greg, or even you worried now that we're in massive bother?
Yeah, I'm worried because of the FFP stuff. If we didn't have that over our heads, I think we're fine. I still think we'd pick up enough points, especially with the teams around us. Sheffield United winning was a great result for us because they're too far behind. They're gone. And it's just this points deduction. I think even 6 could be too much, to be honest. But I just wish we knew now, if I'm honest, because it's we need to be playing like we've already had them taken off us, and we're not. That's my biggest worry.
Yeah, I think like Temps, I thought 10 points would be too much. 6 points worries me now, watching the way we're playing. What's your thought on the relegation picture in general now?
I get a daily text message from Darren Fletcher now about this restaurant bet. So he was lording it up after Luton falling on the faces at the weekend. So that'll be, our saving grace will be leniency in the way that FFP is dealt with, and the drawbridge being brought lower by Everton getting pinged or Luton tailing off. And that's what Fletcher said would happen, right? Point a game from a promoted side is tough to achieve. They've had their period where they're up. They've just been turned over by Sheffield United, and they didn't look great shakes. So where's that line going to be drawn? Could it be as low as 34, 35 points in 18th position? Quite possibly, yes. So Greg's right. We're going to get the points organically to keep us out of the relegation zone. But if that tariff is 4, 5, 6, 10 points, that's going to be the crucial factor in whether we're a Premier League team or not next season. So we'll see. I mean, what do you boys think Luton-wise? Where are they going to end up? What are they? Were they a team that had a plucky period and picked up some results against the head? Did we see the real them against Sheffield United? It's only them and Everton that matter because Burnley and Blades are gone.
What do you think, Kelvin? Because I'll look at Luton's fixtures and then I'll give an answer on that. But we're going at less than a point a game ourselves at the moment. Are we good enough to get the points we need?
Yeah, I agree with Greg. I think if it wasn't for the points being taken off us, if we get any points taken off us, I think we'd be fine. I think we'd have enough. I don't think Luton are good enough. No, I don't think they'll stay up if it's down just to the points of what you play for, not what you get taken off you. But it just goes back to what points are going to, if any points are going to get taken off us. And all the players can do and the football club can do is try and get as many points on the board as they can from now to the end of the season and deal with that when it comes. But like I go back to if it's down just to footballing terms, I think we would be fine. Yeah, even though we're out of form and we're not winning games in a minute, I think we've got enough to do that from now to the end of the season to pick up enough points, more points than Luton anyway. Like Temps just said, Burnley and Sheffield United, in my eyes, they're gone, and I don't think Luton will stay up. We'll get enough points to stay up. So yeah, I think we'll be okay. But yeah, it's just nervous to think what could be.
I'm just looking at Luton's fixtures. I actually think the next 4, 5, 6 or 7 games will decide it. They've got Man U at home, Liverpool away, then they've got Villa at home, then they've got Crystal Palace and Bournemouth away, and then us at home. And if they beat, I feel like the game against us at Kenilworth Road could decide a lot of stuff. If they can do quite well in that, then I'll be really worried, because after that they've got another sticky run, and then their run in is pretty decent. Their final 4 games, they've got Wolves at home, Everton at home, West Ham away, Fulham at home. So I kind of feel like I could do with us being pretty comfortably clear ahead of them. What about Everton, Greg? You've got Everton mates, I know. I mean, are they going to turn it around as well? Because their form's actually really dire at the moment after their burst of wins.
They're fully expecting this current points deduction to be halved by what I keep hearing from them. So if that's the case, that's another huge issue for us down there. So yeah, I mean, the only thing is, I suppose, if they do get their deduction halved and then we get done over this, they're also going to get done again, aren't they? So it should hopefully level it out. I think Everton are possibly the strongest out of the pot down there. Luton have got the Kenny, haven't they? It feels like us last season. They've got that home, guard, that 12th man or whatever you want to call it. So, if they've got belief as well. The Luton fans and the players, Ross Bark is superb, but it's that belief that they've got that could carry them a little bit higher than they should be. But we've just got to find that again, haven't we? We really have. It's got to be about us and not looking round us. And if we don't pick up enough points, there's not going to be anyone else we're going to have to worry about.
I think Everton have got the character and the experience that I question if we've got at the moment. I hope I'm wrong, but, Pickford's got, for his faults, Pickford's got a lot of character. I mentioned Tarkowski on the podcast the other day, and then they've got Ashley Young, Anana's good. If Calvert-Lewin starts scoring goals, I think they'll be all right. But yeah, I think it might come down to us and Luton, certainly. I think we've covered all the bases I wanted to cover there today. Let me just quickly check my notes. I just want to say commiserations to Forest women, lost 7-1 to Everton in the FA Cup. No disgrace, obviously. I think there's like 3 leagues between the teams. They're in the WSL, so that was yesterday. And we've mentioned the Ivory Coast, so we get Sangare and hopefully a fit Willy Bolly back for the next game, and obviously Ola Aina as well. Commiserations to him for Nigeria's defeat. Right, as ever, if you've enjoyed this video, do us a favor, hit like, hit subscribe, give us a good review on iTunes, and you can consider becoming a channel member if you want to as well on YouTube. Any other business, Greg, before we go?
No, just a thank you to everyone who helped with Stand Against MND at the weekend. We had some walkers go from Newark to Nottingham, arrived at the ground, and the club were absolutely superb with them, got them pitch side. Sam met them pitch side as well, and Sam met the manager, met Nuno, who's brilliant with him. So just thank you for everyone who keeps supporting Stand Against MND, really, and keep doing so if you can.
Good stuff. Temps, anything from you?
I just want to thank Greg for getting through the last 54 minutes. He's obviously completely broken inside. His team's lost. He's had 7 gallons of warm Carling from wherever he was watching his sport last night. So I think in those circumstances, it's a commendable performance. He's crossed the white line, therefore he's fit as far as I'm concerned, and he's made it to full time.
I think the sports science guys are saying absolutely not. You can't have any minutes, but Greg's like, no, I know my body. I can get through this.
I just didn't want to let you down. I feel like I have let you down coming on.
No, you provide a lot of entertainment. Don't worry. The gradual degrading of your body and spirit has been something to see in front of my screen. Kelvin, any final words before we go?
No, just next time I come on, hopefully we're not talking about conceding set pieces, and it's a different topic.
No, your last appearance was the Brentford game. When I was looking at my notes, that was set pieces again and a 3-2 defeat. So yeah, I would say you're the curse, but I don't think you are, because there's been so many 3-2s and so many set piece goals but I definitely don't think it's you. I think that was it. Oh, I was going to say, on a real tangent, I like the Deadpool 3 trailer that's out today. And also, they've remade Twister, which was a really good film in the 90s, and there was a trailer for that I saw, and I was flicking through my phone waiting for these chaps to log on. So, yes, some very off-piste, any other business from me.
Are you insinuating that we were late, Matt? And that's the reason why all your followers have a little moan at 1 minute past 12? I think we were all on time today.
We were. I'm going to say, I think we started on time, and I was just sat here early. Don't worry. Booted out of the kitchen, like I said, so I can't even get my lunch now for a few hours. Right, we shall leave it there. Kelvin, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Temps, thank you very much.
Get back to bed, Gregory.
I am. Don't you worry.
In one of the ice bath or cryo chamber, Greg, for the rest of the day?
I can't even think about driving if I'm on. I've had my Dortmund mate. He's just gone to the station. He's going back to staying in Hamburg, I think. So yeah, got the house to myself, and I might get on with some house chores or lie on the sofa.
Greg's a driving instructor, by the way. So if you've got the 1 o'clock lesson, it's just a theory-based thing today.
Yeah.
You learn your stopping distances.
Yeah, do not trust your teenager with Greg Mitchell.
Don't say that. Don't clip that. I'm going.
Look, I'll let you go. Did Laura have any sympathy for you?
No, she just sent me the Ring doorbell footage at 4:45 this morning. So
right, we're gonna go. Hopefully back with something tomorrow. Then on Wednesday an interview, Thursday match preview, Saturday post-match show after the West Ham game, and hopefully we're enjoying a better result. But that was a lot of fun today. So thanks very much everyone for joining us. Have a good day, a better day than Greg, and we shall see you soon.